Howdy folks, I'm Brian, and here's a special episode, I guess. So yesterday I accidentally posted my video early. That means that today you were without a video, and so I did not really like that. I really wish I had been able to post something at noon. It upset me, let's put it that way. Not really upset per se, but it bothered me. So I wanted to provide a little bit of entertainment today just so that you have something to listen to today and if you burnt my video yesterday. So I'll be posting this one pretty much immediately after I finish recording it. So let's get started. So our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Bringing Up an Embarrassing Memory from School to a Former Classmate? There used to be this one weird guy at school when I was in junior high who was into screamo music, and he was so weird about it and proclaimed every single day that Children of Bodom was the greatest band in the world. He would say this constantly to people and try to force his opinion down our throats, and this was in 8th grade, and it was so annoying. He also said a lot of weird stuff like Disney was the devil and that the Beatles were bad. Yes, I'm serious. He would say these weird things constantly and was always just really weird and said really weird things. I mean, he likes screamo music for crying out loud. It's widely agreed that he was one of the biggest weirdos / bimbos to come out of our very small 8th grade class. I saw him at a bar last week with a lot of other former classmates, and I haven't seen him in a long time. It was really crowded in there, and I went up to him with a big smile on his face and said, Hey man, I just want to ask your opinion on one thing. Children of Bodom. He just looked awkward and embarrassed, and his face got red, and he said, and he walked away awkward and weird. He just stood around like usual the rest of the evening and barely talked or interacted with anyone. Just like a weirdo would. Wow, you're such a jerk here. Why not allow someone to move past the 8th grade? You clearly haven't. Yeah, you're a jerk. Don't do this to people. Like, let him be an adult. Don't bring up, stuff that might be embarrassing to people. This is just completely inappropriate. The thing is that people grow, people change, and a lot of the stuff that we did in middle school will be embarrassing to us. I used to, when I was in middle school, I had these pair of sweatpants, these red sweatpants that I really liked, and I wore them every single day. It was pretty embarrassing to look back on it now, but I mean, if someone approached me today and was like, Hey Brian, what do you think of those red sweatpants? I'd be like, what are you even talking about? That was like too many years ago to admit on YouTube, and I don't want to talk about this. So yeah, it's just one of those things. People grow up, you grow up. Grow up, OP, grow up. You're the jerk for acting like you're still in junior high. OP was probably a bully back then and is still a bully. Yeah, I mean, especially the way they're talking about them in like, oh, and now they're still a weirdo. That's really mean. You're the jerk. You didn't go up to him and be nice. In the situation you described, you are the weirdo. Imagine standing in a bar with some stranger and he gets in your face and demands your opinion on a random band. That isn't normal or a cool thing to do. Yeah. So let's take a tea break. I'm drinking some tea. Can you guess what kind of tea it is? Tomorrow, the answer will be revealed because I recorded a video right before this. So, if you want to know what type of tea I'm drinking, tune in for tomorrow and I'll tell you then. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Getting Angry at My Wife for How Much She Spent on Her Nipple Piercing? A few months ago, I'm a 31-year-old male and my wife, 26-year-old female, got one of her nipples pierced. At first, she just had a barbell with metal beads. But the other day, she got an upgrade. Not long after I got home from work, she told me that she got some new beads for it. She showed me it, and I saw 2 diamonds on it. I asked her if the diamonds were real, and she confirmed that they were. When I asked her how much she paid, she said $3,800, and I could not believe it. At that point, I got extremely mad. I basically told her that I thought spending that amount of money, especially on something that except me, the doctor, and a few of her girlfriends is going to see, was incredibly irresponsible. I also thought that she could have at least consulted me before spending a sum like that. I don't think that I would spend more than $250 without consulting her. She basically said that I was overreacting. She said that she just sees it as getting something nice for herself once in a while and doesn't care that nobody else will ever see it. She also pointed out that she's not brought us into debt or anything over it, and that we're doing pretty well financially. She kind of has a point. We've actually fared pretty well financially despite everything that's happened. So it's not going to break the bank, and she's normally pretty good with money. But at the time, it seemed, and I still think, it was out of line to splurge so much without even giving me a heads up. And I still think there's a better use of $3,800 than a piercing. Edit just to clarify, she took it from the joint account. Alright, OP, I'm going to say that you're not the jerk here, and I'm assuming that if $3,800 is a lot of money to you, and you think it's a lot of money to spend, then it's probably a lot of money to you and a lot of money to spend, especially since you wouldn't spend more than $250 without consulting her. Each family is going to be different, and of course there's going to be, like, if you're a billionaire, spending $3,800 is probably like, oh, haha, why would you even bother telling me that you spent 10 cents? But, you know, this was a pretty sizable amount of money, assuming that you're mostly, you know, kind of an average, you know, person. That's a lot of money to spend without telling someone. So I don't think that you're unreasonable here for being upset that she spent a lot of money without talking to you first. It's odd that you don't already have a standing rule along the lines of, if either of us wants to spend more than $600 on a purchase, we will consult the other person first. It's also extremely odd to pay that amount of money for a nipple bar. I have mine done and was on the higher end of the price range, but literally not anywhere even close to a tenth of what OP's wife spent. Where in the world does one even buy a bar that expensive? And OP replies to the first one, to be honest, we were just using a within reason basis. Now you mention it might be a good idea to change that. Probably a good idea to put a cap on the amount of money that any one person can spend at once. Start paying yourselves out allowances. And okay, yeah, I mean, the way that, you know, Amber and I deal with our finances is that we get paid an allowance. This is just money that gets put into a spreadsheet where we keep track of it, and we can only spend as much money as we have, and that's that, you know, on personal items. I mean, clearly, like, health and other things don't necessarily come out of our personal funds, but we just have for our fun money, for instance, you know, things that we want to spend on fun, we just allocate a certain amount of money each month and just put it into a spreadsheet. That takes care of spending within reason. So if she really wanted to have this, if she saved up for years, you know, that would seem reasonable. Alright, our last letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Asking My Girlfriend if she wants to do my chores? My girlfriend and I live together, and we use an app to manage our household chores. We have separate finances also. So my girlfriend mentioned to me at the start of the year that she was saving up to buy a Kindle and budgeting $1 every day she did all of her assigned chores, and $10 if she gets a perfect week. Awesome. I'm not the best at doing my chores on time, but I do pretty good. I'd give myself a B grade probably. But if I don't do my chores, my girlfriend goes around and does them before she goes to bed at 11 p.m. I go to bed around 9:30 because I work early. I've told her to leave them to me and I'll do them the next day, but she doesn't. Recently, my girlfriend told me that she was giving herself an extra 50 cents every day she had to do my chores. This was a lighthearted conversation. So to the main event. Yesterday, she was scrubbing the baseboards in our kitchen, and I asked her, do you want to do my chores for a while so you can save up money faster? And she started cursing me out, calling me lazy and selfish, and threw a sponge at me and left. She stayed with her mom last night. I think this was a huge overreaction. I was just offering for her to get the Kindle faster, and I was totally fine if she said no, but she freaked out. My friend laughed about me wanting a 1950s housewife, which I'm not here for. Alright, OP, I mean, this is a little bit of a complicated situation. I think what she probably wants is for you to do your chores. Maybe she didn't outright say it, but I think when she was hinting at it, she was probably hinting at it when she's like, well, I'm going to give myself an extra 50 cents if I have to do your chores. You know, in a relationship, people want a partner and they want someone to help them with things. And, you know, she would probably appreciate your help with the housework a lot more than she would appreciate the Kindle. Let's put it that way. And if she views things as unfair now, she may realize that things aren't going to get any better for your future relationship and that she is maybe going to get stuck with a lot more household chores in the future, and that maybe makes her upset. So I think you are being inconsiderate here. You're the jerk. Of course you're the jerk. She is saving her own cash, not earning it. She isn't even being given stuff for doing the chores. You aren't giving her cash to do the things you are too lazy to do. Grow up and do your chores on time. Nobody is fooled by the, oh, I would do them. Oops, looks like you did it first routine. Just do them and start to understand that your girlfriend isn't there to pick up after you. She's definitely noticed that he doesn't do his stuff. And maybe that conversation before was a lighthearted because she knows that she wouldn't want to be a nag, way to make sure he's noticed that she does his chores for him. Do your own chores and buy your girlfriend a Kindle. Actually, that's kind of what went through my head when I read this. I was like, maybe you should buy your girlfriend a Kindle. That might smooth things over. Just a tad. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this second episode. Well, this episode today. It'll probably be going up soon. I'll have my other one to edit, so that one will be going out tomorrow. So the order will be resumed in the universe and everything will be back to normal. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.